So we're all familiar with the eShop, I presume? I'm gonna reference it, but if you don't use the eShop, this question really applies to any game buying experience. If you're not familiar with the eShop, let me tell you, it's a wondrous place with a wondrous way too many games to keep track of. And that means if you're looking to play a game from the eShop, you're gonna have to pick one without fully looking at all your options. It's the classic scenario of picking a game based on its tiny little icon. So the question naturally arises, is this a good way to pick what game to play? Does the icon really correlate to which games you'll like and which games you'll despise? I figured I should make the great sacrifice and find out for myself. I'm going to rank a large group of the pictures of the game, which are very similar to the icons, from favorite to least favorite, and randomly get 5 of those games from the eShop. Demos, of course. I'm not making that big of a sacrifice. Sheesh, I ain't Bill Gates. And after playing each of those demos, I'll rank them based on my enjoyment of them, and we'll see how well it matches with the rankings I made of their icons. Will this work? Will it be pretty obvious which game is which? Is this the worst idea I've had since I made a video asking whether Nintendo was a genre? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Hello all 2,370 of you, I'm Redkwan, and can you judge an eShop game by its cover? So first, let's see the pictures. The actual little icons they give you on the eShop gave away a little too much about the title, to where it'd be really easy to guess which game is which, so I compiled a list of 10 games based on their main pictures, which are basically the same but a little less obvious. I mean, hopefully, I still might be able to guess them all. So here are the 10 images. I'll run through each of them, and you could play along at home too if you want. I doubt anyone has that kind of dedication to try a Redkwan video out for themselves, but you can do this experiment too if you want. So here's all of them, like I said, and I'll run through each and I'll end up ranking them. First picture. Okay, it looks like we've got some sort of multiplayer alien shooting game. It looks like a 2D action game, which isn't my favorite type of game by any means, and I don't really like the gritty art style very much, but at least it looks fairly high quality. Hopefully there are some better ones out there, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Picture 2. Okay, again, not really liking the look of it. Seems like another action game maybe, a little bit too gritty and dark again. And not really dark in a cool way. Dark like in a it takes itself way too seriously type of way. Maybe objectively I should put this higher, but I hate that werewolf in the top right so much, I'm pretty sure this is gonna end up at the bottom of my list. Okay, I'm pretty sure I might have seen this game somewhere. It sort of looks like a Splatoon ripoff. Again, I don't love how it looks just from the picture, but maybe that's the way I'm gonna feel about all of these. I may have to settle here. It's okay, I guess, but I'm not loving it. Picture 4. Okay, I actually do like how this one looks, but it also gives me the indication it's gonna be a 2D cooking game, which I am not up for. Tough one, tough one. I'll probably put it somewhere in the middle. Picture 5 is low-budget Undertale. I don't know exactly what to expect from this, but I actually think this could be fun. Or at least funny. I really have no idea what it is, but at least genre-wise, I could see myself thinking it was okay. Oh, moving out. Well, I guess I won't use this one because I know what it is, but it's probably the best one here. Good art style, looks somewhat interesting, comes from the makers of Overcooked. Picture 7. Oh no! Oh no! That is really bad. I can hardly stand to look at it. Picture 8. Okay, this just looked like a bad game. I can tell you right now there's almost nothing going on here, but at the same time, I'm sure it's also harmless enough. And it probably doesn't have anything too insulting. It's gonna be pretty bad though. Ooh, okay, wow, that's pretty nice actually. This is my favorite of the pictures by itself, but I really don't think it would be the type of game I'd like. Really nice picture though, I'll give it that. And our last picture. Oh yeah, now that's what I'm talking about. Solid art style, looks fairly interesting gameplay-wise, which basically means I can't tell what genre it is, so it's better off than the others so far. Yeah, I'm interested. I'm very interested. I have bad taste, okay? So here's my ranking. Moving Out, because I know what it is, Cat Music, Cool Picture, Undertale Ripoff, Gritty Aliens, Food Thing, Splatoon Ripoff, Nut Game, Shrek Game, and Disgusting Werewolf Game. Yes, I did put this above this. I just know I would hate this game. There you go, there's my graphic. Now it's time to play some demos. Okay, demo number 1. See if you can guess which of the games this is. I know I sure can't. So it's obviously Nut Game. I think this is going to be how it's going to be for all of them, but I'll try to be objective as I can in my judgments. So Nut Game's a multiplayer game where you go try to bring the nut to your tent. I don't know why the dogs are so into getting nuts, but I'm sure there's no legitimate reason, so I won't think about it. Basically, you move the nut around and you can punch other players to send them flying away and make them drop the nut. And for some reason you move really slowly when you have the nut, which also doesn't make sense, but I also won't question it. It's not the worst thing I've played, but it's pretty bad. I got bored before the first goal in the first round had been scored. It's honestly pretty much random what happens. Not the worst thing out there, but definitely no gem. Game number 2. What do we have here? Oh, it's the Werewolf Game. Okay, so you have to move around by clicking a certain area on the board. Ooh, that's really annoying. Okay, we've got our first RPG battle. I almost died from the first enemy, which is not a great start. Okay, and there's also a stamina system where you get tired by moving around the board, and you have to literally take a turn to keep moving. So the whole game is basically one big RPG battle. That's an interesting idea that I would really hate to play. Maybe somebody out there would have a blast with this, but it isn't me. Remember when I said the nut game wasn't the worst thing out there? Well, it's because there's this. I hate it. I really hate it. Our third game is, Undertale Ripoff. I'll be honest, this isn't exactly what I expected it to look like, but I think it looks somewhat promising. Maybe. So there's a story, but you have to skip it if you want to play the game, which is kind of weird, but whatever. Small problems, small problems. Okay, so you get around by blowing up boxes, and you have to get a key from one of the boxes and exit through the door. It can be a little annoying with how easily you die, but you know what? It's not half bad. Definitely better than the last two. I wouldn't ever buy it, but it's actually pretty okay. Music Cat! Yes! Yes! My dreams are becoming a reality! Okay, so first we choose a category. If you thought that was a bad joke, I'm just getting started. I have a good feeling about this game. This game is actually not very good. I'm playing this one mode called Push on Tanks or something like that, and they don't tell you what to do at all. But after about 15 minutes of not understanding what to do, I've realized that you just need to fill in all the notes at the top. And you can do that in a couple different ways. Sometimes notes just appear on the screen and you can run into them, but there are also 4 tanks in the corners. If you meow into the top tanks the number of times that there are notes, you get a note. Also, there's something you can do with the notes in the middle and the bottom tanks, but I couldn't figure it out and I also don't care. I should also add that the controls aren't very good and you get trapped between 2 things a lot and it's pretty unavoidable, but I beat it, okay? And it only took about 20 minutes. Yeah, I'm a big deal. Like the other games though, this game is not very good. Not the worst, but not great. And finally, we've got... oh man, it's the game that reminds me of Shrek, even though it's not really like Shrek at all. Turns out this is a bowling game. Would not have expected that. And I'm gonna be honest with you, this is the best bowling video game I've ever played. So much better than the Wii Sports games. So much better. I think this feels more real than actual bowling. It's actually just one of those games with the meters on it. You know the ones? You're watching the gameplay right now. I have like 5.5 minutes of gameplay for some reason. Probably because I wanted to show you how bad I whooped this alligator. No, but yeah, there's no spin, and the power gauge, which makes you think you want to get it right in the middle for maximum power, is literally just the higher you go, the stronger the throw, which makes you wonder, why is there a need to put this line in the middle? What does that even mean? Hit this and you get a pretty normal speed? The power doesn't really matter anyway, though, to be honest. So where do these rank? Well, let's remind ourselves what my original ranking of these games was. I had Kitty Maestro at the top, then Explosive Jake, then Save Your Nuts, then Happy Animals Bowling, and then Alder's Blood. And my final ranking is Explosive Jake, and then Kitty Maestro, and then Save Your Nuts, then Happy Animals Bowling, and then Alder's Blood. Although Explosive Jake is miles ahead of the others. But if we look at the list, I actually predicted this pretty well. Sure, I totally overestimated how good Kitty Maestro would be, but besides switching my first 2 games, I think I actually predicted how much I'd like these games fairly well. So can you judge an eShop game by its cover? Well, apparently I somewhat can. I don't know about you, or if all of this was a fluke, or if I'm just really biased and I subconsciously tried to make my list match what I predicted at the beginning, but you know, I'm gonna say it's probably pretty fair to judge how much you'll like a game from a quick look on the eShop most of the time. That's not much, but it's about all we can really conclude, besides the fact that the eShop has some really bad games on it. I feel like that's a pretty safe conclusion, too. Well, I'm Redkwan. Was this a colossal waste of time? Do you feel like you can judge how much you'll like a game by its little eShop icon? Did you try this too? I know for a fact no one did, but it's a good third question, right? I don't know, I've been writing this script for so long my brain is barely working anymore. Over 2,000 words! Man, I need to find a better way to use my time. Anyways, I'm Redkwan, thank you all for watching, and I'll hopefully see you all later. Goodbye.